First Alert Weather Extra starts now.
So glad you're with us on another beautiful evening around the state of Alabama. The weather conditions out there this week have been fantastic compared to last week. We had all the rain. We've had a stretch of warm weather. In fact, we're dealing with some of the warmest weather or stretch of warmest weather we've had since October. We've got a lot of 80s in that forecast that we're going to get into. Let's talk about what's on the way for this episode of First Alert Weather Extra. Now that it is warming up, well, you may be wanting to get out there, do a little work in the garden over the weekend. We'll talk about some gardening tips as we check in with Chris Chambers, and we're going to take you back to a powerful tornado that struck the state of Alabama on this date back in 2019. The Lee County Beauregard tornado, Smith Station, a lot of those areas we talked about, and there's a chance that we could have another cold snap on the way. I always say there's always that one time you get a little warm up and then the temperatures drop again to remind you that, well, winter is not over, and we do have some changes that we'll talk about here coming up. So we've got some near record warmth in our forecast. What's the next big thing around here? Weekend sunshine, rain and storms coming back on Monday. All right, so this evening, not too bad as we look at the situation across the state. East Alabama, Gadsden, a live look right now, 61 degrees here in Birmingham where it's 70, Tuscaloosa 73 degrees, and Chelsea at 69. Watching that horizon at sunset, not a cloud in the sky out there this evening. There were some clouds down across southeastern Alabama, or actually southwestern Alabama, and into the southeastern part of the state as well. Current temperatures showing some 60s at this time, a big improvement from what we were seeing Monday evening. Milder night expected in the morning. We'll have temperatures cooling off into the 40s to start the day, so no real concern about frost or freezing temperatures. I actually set some of the plants out on the back porch today, some perfect weather for it, and I believe we can actually see right there, see the moon. Looking at 61 degrees, there's 57 there around 10 o'clock tonight, and 40s in the morning. Winds out of the east, chilly start to the day, but it won't take long. Another big warm up. We'll be in the mid 70s. It's going to feel hot out there some areas tomorrow afternoon with that sunshine and the wind out of the southeast at 7 miles per hour. This weather pattern that we're in right now, this dry weather, it is going to hang on into the weekend, Saturday into Sunday. Just want to show you here that the situation starts to turn a bit stormy back to the west on Sunday. That's when we could start to see some strong to severe storms. There's a risk they're setting up across Arkansas, damaging winds, isolated tornadoes. That's the same system that's going to impact us on Monday. We're going to need to watch it around here. Just want to give you that first alert for the possibility of some strong storms Monday afternoon. It looks like the risk may be rather limited, but it is something that we are watching there to start off next week, and then we'll catch a break by Tuesday. But we'll talk about those rain chances and more specifics coming up. Certainly this time of the year, you can have some very active weather. As we take you back to 2019 here, show you some of this video, some of the scenes from the Beauregard area. This is in Lee County, Alabama. EF4 tornado that struck on this day. There were 23 fatalities in Alabama, and a lot of the fatalities, a lot of the major damage that we saw related to mobile homes in that area. But you can see the path of destruction, and it just goes to show, quite frankly, I know it's early March, but really any time of the year, as we saw back in Sawyerville earlier this season, that just if the conditions are right in Alabama, you can have, in some cases, these larger long track type tornadoes, but tornadoes do happen. And I know often we speak about the spring severe weather season. We do have that coming up, which is a time when we often see severe weather more frequently, but we always have to be keeping a watchful eye on that risk for severe weather. But this was in 2019 in Beauregard, and our very own meteorologist Lauren Linehan was tracking that tornado as it moved across Lee County, along with Derek Kincaid, chief meteorologist with our sister station in Columbus, and they join us now to share their story.
Just 3 years ago on March 3rd, there was a deadly tornado outbreak to our south in the Chattahoochee Valley that killed 23 people in Beauregard, Alabama. I'm now joined by one of my old colleagues and dear friends, Chief Meteorologist Derek Kincaid at WTVM in Columbus, Georgia. He and I were there when the Beauregard tornado came through, and I wanted to talk with him as we reflect on that day. Derek, what were your thoughts leading up to that event?
Looking back, it seems like those events events that are where you have the big long track tornadoes, the big supercells in springtime, those are almost easier to come up with a plan for. I mean, I know your viewers know that the small spin-up tornadoes along the line, or when you have maybe this ingredient comes together, maybe this one doesn't, that's harder to communicate, it's harder to have a plan for. But in this case, I think we knew we were going to have a severe weather day. You never expect, of course, the worst case scenario, and that's what we kind of ended up having with these multiple storms on the ground at the same time in some cases, and then of course one that became so deadly.
And I know during the moment, it is our job to remain calm and keep going. But what were your thoughts during the moment? I know, honestly, at some point when there was a tornado about 4 miles away from my apartment in Columbus, I started to get scared and worried about my cat. You start thinking about your own family. What were you thinking as you could see just how bad the situation was getting?
Well, it was one of those situations where, because it was going to be one of those kinds of days where we knew we might have some of the bigger tornadoes, some of the more long track dangerous tornadoes, I remember telling my wife before I left to come into work that morning for the coverage, I was like, look, today's the day that you really need to pay attention. If we're on, watch us. If you can, just kind of stay in touch with us through the course of the day from a weather coverage standpoint, because I knew that when I was here, it was going to be very hard for me to try to keep getting back in touch with family and things like that. It's like you said, we had a close call. The storm that produced that tornado in Beauregard tracked just through the north of our town. And again, we knew it was on the ground. We knew it was a big deal. So yeah, your first thoughts are, look, I've got to maintain composure and stay calm. And that's one thing that I think you and I are both good at when it comes to coverage of severe weather, and we were able to do that. But inside, what the viewer can't see, there's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of nervousness, a lot of anxiousness, and again, even fear in some cases when you think about how close of a call that could have been to where we live or to where we work even.
What do you think we could do better, or meteorologists could do better in the future to communicate that risk?
Well, look, I think in the moment of any severe weather coverage, I think we did a good job. I think the question is, what could we have done the day before, 2 days before, 5 days before that may have alerted folks maybe a little bit better, or what could we have said at that point that may have made somebody take action that they wouldn't have had or they didn't take on that day. And I think the reason why I say that is because when you look back at that storm, of the 23 deaths, 19 were in mobile homes. So 19 folks were in those very vulnerable locations that we don't want them to be in. We want them to be out and somewhere else. So I guess the question is, how early do they need their plan to start? How early do they need to start putting in place their severe weather plan? Is there anything that we could have said or done ahead of time to kind of spark that, I guess, light that fire and think, okay, this is that day where we need to be really serious about this? I remember mentioning Beauregard specifically 45 minutes before the first damage, and we even gave a shout out to those that lived in mobile homes. We said, now is the time for you to leave. But is listening to it that day too late? Do they need to hear that message a lot earlier? I think that's where the communication comes in. Other than that, always looking ahead. Lots of folks, we love to show where the storm is, but we've got to make sure we, of course, continue to show where that storm is going, continually call out those names, get down to the street level. And I know that's something that we're pretty good at, and I know that's something that you guys up there in Birmingham are good at too.
And we will have more from Lauren and Derek talking about the Lee County tornado coming up in tomorrow's episode. I want to show you our next best chance of rain and storms moving in. You can see here during the afternoon and evening hours on Monday. There's some limiting factors going on here, but we can't rule out a strong to severe storm. Looks like more of a low end risk based on what we're seeing with the threat of any severe weather based on current data. That could change. That's why we say often check in with us. But at this point, looks like a pretty good chance for some wet weather there on Monday, and then some more rain coming back in here around the middle of next week. But we're watching it. We'll have more on this coming up. Plus, going beyond the 7-day forecast, we're going to have a cold snap on the way that we're talking about. And we've got the out the door forecast with Mickey, but gardening. We check in with meteorologist Fred Hunter coming up as we continue right here on First Alert Weather Extra. The Next Big Thing gives you a heads up days ahead of the next big storm system. The Next 24 gives you the most accurate and updated look at tomorrow. And the Next 60 gives you a 60-minute advantage against Mother Nature. Knowing what's next, days, hours, or minutes away, this is why we First Alert.
When we declare First Alert Weather Day, it's all hands on deck. We're on your side and in your hand with the First Alert Weather app. While Wes and the rest of the team track changes moment to moment, the app keeps you prepared and safe with video and alerts for your neighborhood. And if the power goes out, no worries, you can stream us anywhere. It's easy and it's always on. Stay ahead of Alabama weather. Just scan and tap and have the First Alert Weather app. This is why we First Alert.
On Good Day Alabama, we treat severe weather with the highest priority. It's more than just meteorologists. Everyone plays a part. Having more reporters in more places takes you beyond the First Alert, showing you the impact that we see on radar. We're live in your neighborhood when you need us. On air, online, and on the app. That's the advantage of having the most reporters on your side. That's the advantage of Good Day Alabama.
Our lives revolve around planning for what's next, like the next ball game.
One hot dog with ketchup? It's the same with weather. That's why we're on your side with the next big thing, the next 60, and the next 24. Knowing what's next, days, hours, or minutes away.
This is why we First Alert. Who puts ketchup on a hot dog?
Getting live breaking news and local updates has never been easier. That's because we're on your side with the WBRC streaming app. Need updates between newscasts? You can catch up quick here. And when we're live on TV, we're live here too. Just search WBRC on your Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV. WBRC Fox 6 News is on your side.
Welcome back. A live look from Gulf Shores at the Hangout. 61 degrees. If you have a trip planned to the Gulf Coast this weekend, you can see dry for Saturday and Sunday. Highs in the 70s. Good chance of rain and storms on Monday and some wet weather possible on Tuesday and Wednesday as well. Heading to the mountains, Gatlinburg, we're looking at dry weather, 70s. Chance for a shower late on Sunday and just a very small chance of a shower for Tuesday and Wednesday, but a pretty good chance of rain there on Monday. Remember, if you have our First Alert Weather app, you can put in that location or follow me, and that will give you those local alerts wherever you are, anywhere in the world. So that's what's happening along the coast and at the mountains. Let's check out the travel forecast around the country with meteorologist Matt Daniel.
All right, hope you had a wonderful Thursday as we go into the weekend. Travel-wise, looking pretty good all across the country. If you see green, not really seeing much in the way of problems. And really, the only issues are out towards the west where you start seeing those yellows. Across the Rockies, California, could see some rain, some mountain snow. But otherwise, all the major airports, especially across the eastern half of the country, New York City, Boston, Miami, all looking pretty good, including Chicago. Let's talk about the weather setup as we go into tomorrow. It's going to be a little unsettled in the west, as I was just mentioning. You see those blue colors indicating some snow, but we're going to see a little system move across the southwest United States, and that's going to spread some moisture, so that could give way to some heavy snow in the higher elevations, and in the lower elevations, a little bit of rain. So Denver's right on that line where as you go west towards the Rockies, you're getting snow. Towards the east, you're getting some light rain, and of course some mountain snow in parts of California as well. And the other big story is as the system's moving through, it's also going to bring in a lot of warm air ahead of it. So look at all the warm conditions all across the central parts of the U.S. Temperatures could average maybe 20 to 30 degrees above average for parts of Colorado, and as you go into parts of Texas, into Oklahoma, Nebraska, and Kansas. So a lot of warm temperatures expected, at least for the eastern half of the country going into the weekend. So all the unsettled weather's out towards the west tomorrow, and as you can see, lots of sunshine and dry conditions, maybe some extra cloud cover moving through parts of Dallas, Texas. And then look at the high temperatures. You can see all that warmth well into the 70s as you go into Wichita, near 70 degrees in Omaha, and well into the 70s and even 80s across the southeast with all the really cold air bundled up across Canada. And of course, when you start having these big changes in temperatures, you can't rule out some strong and severe weather. And normally for this time of the year, severe weather is more confined in the southeast, but the threat for severe weather Saturday, a little bit farther to the north in parts of Iowa, where they could see perhaps some strong winds and an isolated tornado threat. So it's that time of the year. Severe weather can't ever be ruled out across the country. We'll have more updates to come. Have a great weekend.
All right, thanks a lot there, Matt. And look at Tuscaloosa, 80 degrees today, 78 Birmingham. These are the official high temperatures for today. Quite the warm up. We didn't quite make it to record levels, which were warmer than 80 degrees across the area, but certainly close enough for us around Alabama. With this kind of warm weather, I even noticed today around the house, it's starting to see some greenery, and this is a good time of the year to always put out some pre-emergent, start those early lawn treatments. Our very own meteorologist Fred Hunter checked in with Chris Chambers to talk about gardening this time of the year.
Well, we've come to Coleman once again to Chambers Farm and Garden and talking with Chris Chambers. And Chris, I know a lot of folks might have got just a little touch of spring fever with the warm up and then the cool snap comes in, but this is kind of what we can expect. But you also kind of anticipate this, and you're getting things in now right along between now and the 1st of March that people can work with.
Oh yeah, so we're waiting, getting in our cold crops, your broccoli, cabbage, and all that. And all that loves the cold. It likes those chilly nights. Actually kind of makes some of those maybe sweeten up a little bit, just a better tasting product. So you got all that. I mean, we got our fruit trees, all that's going to be time because you kind of want to get them in the ground before they start budding out, getting ready. So you got your fruit trees, anything fruit bearing, blueberries, blackberries, just everything of that sort. And then not much longer we'll be getting all, the real stuff, your tomatoes, your peppers, what everyone's looking forward to. So we just don't want to jump the gun too early on those like we probably have in the previous years. But for Alabama, you just never know what it's going to do. So,
and Easter comes late this year. It's toward the end of April, so there again, you got to look at that if you're going to go with what the old farmers and gardeners always believe.
We're always, for here at least, you plant by Good Friday. You plant that weekend, and normally, you'll have a decent crop, but some years you just never know. So,
so we're hoping for the best.
Yeah, hopefully for the best this year.
And we were running a little above average for rainfall, but you said the process of a little bit of drying out actually is helping right now.
Oh, it does. For people getting ready, tilling in their gardens, tilling under, just exposing that dirt to kind of dry out a little bit more. So it works out great, having these dry spells after a couple inches, 3 or 4 inches in a couple day span. So definitely works. So
we got plenty of moisture in the soil.
Oh yeah, definitely right now.
All right, getting a head start on spring here with Chris Chambers at Chambers Farm and Garden in Coleman. Let's get ready to get a little planting done this spring.
Every morning on Good Day Alabama, we know the news that matters the most to you is the news that hits closest to home.
And we know that to tell the best story means going to where the story is. That's why having more reporters in more places is so essential.
Giving you more local stories that impact your family, your school, and your safety.
On air, online, and on the app. That's the advantage of having the most reporters on your side. That's the advantage of Good Day Alabama.
I hear from people all the time with questions about health care, their insurance, and the safety of certain treatments. I'm Morgan Hightower, and I investigate these stories because if I were being taken advantage of, or if my family couldn't get the help they needed, I would want to know how to take action. That's why WBRC Fox 6 News investigates. We're on your side, getting answers, keeping you informed and safe. Contact us when you need a team on your side.
Get pinpoint locations down to your street level on the First Alert Weather app. You can download by searching WBRC in your app store. That's accuracy you can plan on.
I hear from people all the time having problems with their landlord or worry about being ripped off by a bad business. I'm Josh Gann, and I investigate stories like these because if I had questions about protecting my finances or how to save more money, I would want the best advice available. That's why WBRC Fox 6 News investigates. We're on your side getting answers, keeping you informed and safe. Contact us when you need a team on your side.
Get First Alert weather and breaking news. Follow us on Twitter. Search at WBRC News.
Get First Alert weather and breaking news. Follow us on Facebook. Search at WBRC News.
Still looking at some nice weather and warm temperatures going into the weekend. You can see 80s. We're watching Monday for the risk of perhaps a couple strong thunderstorms. And then Tuesday into Wednesday, the rain comes back. But there will be some in-between periods as we look at the setup for next week. And some noticeably cooler temperatures on the way. It's still kind of chilly in the morning, but certainly nowhere near as cold as earlier in the week. You can see some of those morning lows around the area. A lot of 40s out there to start the day early tomorrow morning. And then as we look at the afternoon, well, we're looking at 70s and sunshine for our Friday. Another nice warm up. Feeling those temperatures near 80 degrees out there late in the day. It's going to feel hot. Start feeling very toasty for this weekend. Certainly some of the warmer weather we've seen in quite some time. Winds out of the south, southeast, and the local waterways improving as well. I know we had some river flood warnings from earlier in the week, but just a week ago it was a lot of rain and clouds. It seemed like we couldn't get the rainfall out of here, and now we've had some incredible weather. So we certainly deserve it after what we dealt with last week. Now, I will say if you're going to the lake this weekend, make sure you pack on the sunscreen. It's that time of the year. You can get sunburn out there. That UV index is starting to crank up across the region. Maybe a few clouds for Friday evening. Those temperatures cooling off in the 60s, but some nice weather. And also pollen levels on the rise. Tree pollen levels in the high category. You look around, you can really start to tell a lot of those trees budding and bloom. We're seeing a lot of blooms happening, and when we start to get the pine pollen, that's when everything's just covered up, and that will be a factor here over the next few weeks, certainly. Rain and storms back on the way for Monday. Let's talk about this setup here. There are some limiting factors that we're seeing, but a pretty good chance by Monday afternoon as temperatures rise into the upper 70s, we get the higher dew points and the mugginess in there. We'll have some instability. Number two, we're going to have a front. Now, we will see a lot of the upper level support move out, but when you have a little bit of lift, cold front moving through, that could get a couple of those storms going, and we just can't totally rule out a strong to severe storm. Now, this will be one of those very limited sort of risk setups, but it's a non-zero severe risk that we'll need to keep an eye on there. Monday, we'll get some rain, some storms, and that moves on through. The system loses a lot of its energy there, and it starts to stall to the south, and then we'll get some more rain building back in by Wednesday. At one point, it looked like we were going to have rain every day next week, but I think we'll catch a break Tuesday, a little bit cooler, and then the rain comes back in here on Wednesday, and then perhaps another break there later on in the week. But you can see some of those severe weather parameters. What you're looking at, we call this the storm fuel, but if you dig into the meteorological terms, what we're looking at is a product called CAPE. It's called Convective Available Potential Energy, and what you're looking at is a lot of that buoyancy in the air. When you start to feel that mugginess, very warm weather before a big weather event, that's what we're actually feeling, is that energy in the air that feeds those thunderstorms. Well, we've got that recipe that starts to build in, as you can see, a little bit of that instability into the day on Monday, and best way to put it, the storm fuel. And we're looking at the winds from different layers of the atmosphere. We've got the winds from the south in the low levels and more out of the southwest as you go higher up in the atmosphere. So you have a little bit of wind shear and instability and all those parameters. That's what we're looking at on Monday. And notice that goes away by Tuesday. So there's that window we got to watch Monday as those parameters start to come together with that first alert for the possibility of a storm in the mix there. We're going to be watching that. And after, we go beyond this 7-day forecast, we could see quite a drop in temperatures. And Jill, you're standing by here. You've been watching some of those long-term trends, a chance for a big-time cold snap in the long-range forecast.
Yeah, all the long-range models are showing it, and for 2 days in a row, they've been consistent. So feeling a little bit more confident, but can't pull the trigger just quite yet that this is going to definitely happen, but certainly it's pointing in that direction. So again, we're going to fast forward to next Friday. It is showing a big dip in the jet stream and some very cold air potentially building in around the weekend of the 12th and the 13th. So that is the weekend that we're going to be tracking for a potential cold snap. Again, going beyond the 7-day, 8 to 14 days out, the Climate Prediction Center sees what we all see too. So they're forecasting that below average air to move back in. And as we take a look at the forecast lows, again, we could be talking about 20s going into next weekend when we spring forward on that Sunday the 13th. So we'll have to watch that very closely because a lot of these new buds that could be harmful to them. And then in terms of high temperatures, looking beyond the 7-day, again, we could be talking about highs in the 30s and 40s. So we'll be watching that system very closely, keeping you updated on all platforms. But we'll have another check of your 7-day forecast and check in with Mickey after this break.
Getting live breaking news and local updates has never been easier. That's because we're on your side with the WBRC streaming app. Need updates between newscasts? You can catch up quick here. And when we're live on TV, we're live here too, giving you more ways to get caught up with everything happening where you live. Plus, exclusive videos from your First Alert weather team. It's easy to use and it's free. Just search WBRC on your Roku, Amazon Fire, or Apple TV. WBRC Fox 6 News is on your side.
You've got enough to worry about every day. That's why the First Alert weather team is on your side, so you can plan with confidence and take the worry out of weather. With exclusive First Alert AccuTrack, we pinpoint storms before they arrive. And with Weather Every 6, you are always informed. Alabama's weather changes fast, but we're working even faster, updating and alerting you first. We know your plans are important. This is why we First Alert.
Every morning on Good Day Alabama, we're on your side, trying to get you where you're going safely. First Alert Traffic updates you on slowdowns and gives you alternate routes. Having more reporters covering the roads you drive on gives you even more info to help you know more about why it happened and when it will be cleared. On air, online, and on the app. That's the advantage of having the most reporters on your side. That's the advantage of Good Day Alabama.
I get calls and emails all the time from people wanting to know how cities, counties, and the state are spending their tax dollars. I'm Jennifer Horton, and I investigate how your tax dollars are being used because I don't want your money or mine wasted or fraudulently spent by politicians in power. That's why WBRC Fox 6 News investigates. We're on your side, following the paper trail, asking the tough questions, and giving you the facts. Contact us when you need a team on your side.
Still a good chance temperatures tumble into the 40s tonight. Let's check in now with meteorologists. Well, actually, we're going to check in with Mickey Ferguson right now for a look at the out-the-door forecast for tomorrow morning.
Let's take a look at what we should wear tomorrow when we get started early on. It's going to be a day much like yesterday, but a little bit warmer in the morning. But a jacket, maybe a light jacket, but have that short sleeve shirt and the sunglasses and the hat ready because it is going to be a gorgeous and warm day. At the bus stop, the kiddos are ready to go with 51 degrees right around 7 a.m. 76 at lunchtime when you pick up the kids from the bus stop, close to 80 degrees. So absolutely wonderful weather. Now we've got some sports to talk about. Alabama gymnastics meet. This is tomorrow at 7 p.m. at Coleman Coliseum taking on Arkansas. So yeah, the weather should cooperate outside the Coliseum there. And temperatures in the 60s on the way home. And we've got a big meet, Auburn taking on Florida. This is at the Auburn Arena. A big show up there. There are going to be lots of people there. Temperature readings in the 70s and 60s, so that should be nice. Now we're getting into the weekend. Saturday, Auburn basketball forecast. It's at noon, so just outside the Auburn Arena. Sunshine when you get there, sunshine when you get out. Great day to be outside once you get through with the game. And then Saturday at 2 p.m. there at Bartow Arena, the UAB takes on LA Tech, La Tech, Louisiana Tech, however you want to call it. Sunshine going in, clear skies coming out of the game.
All right there, Mickey, another lovely photo. This one coming from Osceola, Indiana. Jay sharing this on my Twitter feed. Some beautiful clouds there, but notice the lack of snow there showing up. A lot of the country dealing with this milder pattern as we check out the setup for the next few days. 80-degree temperature Saturday into Sunday, and then next week we're going to be watching for higher rain chances Monday again for Wednesday. We'll have updates on that coming up tonight. Live news starting at 9 and at 9:30 and 10 on WBRC Fox 6. Enjoy this incredible weather. We'll see you back here later this evening for WBRC.